I'm Air Marshal Sue Gray. My current role in the Royal Air Force is as the Director General of the Defence Safety Authority.
My name is Suzanne McLaughlin. I am currently the team leader for the RAF Engineering Branch and Trades Advisors. I am a communications electronics engineer by background, so that helps the role. Were you ever part of the Air Cadets or University Air Squadrons? So when I went to university and was shown the University Air Squadron, just by freshers' fairs, and they all stand on the steps, don't they, touting for people to come and join. I didn't really have a clue at that point that I definitely wanted to join. I knew it's something I was interested in, but I didn't understand at that point the connection between the University Air Squadron and the benefits it would bring me. I think I don't know if it's coming next, but if the next question is, do I wish I had been? Do you know what? Yeah, I really wish I had joined the University Air Squadron. I think it would have been really good fun.
We had a University Air Squadron, the Newcastle University Air Squadron, and I joined mainly because we were actually given free flights. Although I wasn't a pilot, I was an engineer, and clearly I was already being sponsored by the Air Force. So it's bringing you into the fold so that you can experience what the Air Force is like, and hopefully that doesn't put you off throughout your 3 years of university. I think actually what it does do is teach you that you're there at university to get your degree, and you need to get it because they're relying on you when you finish to come in and do a responsible role at a very early age. And for me, it was about understanding that it wasn't just about your technical ability, it's about what you were going to be asked to do in terms of leadership.
What would you say are your greatest achievements in the RAF so far? There are so many times, so many achievements, but they span from the smallest of things to some of the greater. Right now, if I'm being really honest, my greatest achievement is to be in the role that I'm in, because I am a few things really, but I'm the first communications engineer to be responsible for this team. I am the first female to be responsible for this team, but also I have an indirect responsibility to the 10,000 plus engineers and technicians that we have in the Air Force. I'm helping to make decisions around their career, their progression, their professionalisation, the people we're going to recruit into that element of the organisation, and the skills that we're developing throughout it. So I feel really honoured to be in this position so far. So I would definitely tick this as one of my greatest achievements.
I think professionally, my biggest achievement would have been around the certification of the first unmanned air vehicle, large aircraft, so Taranis, which was a UK-built unmanned air vehicle. It's a technology demonstrator, so we don't have any of them in service, but they are what is now being put to the building of our next fast jet aircraft that may be manned, may be unmanned, and all of the knowledge and everything that we did to get that into the air was challenging, but I had lots of good people. But then you're the person that signs it off, and then the first time it takes off, without a pilot in it, and if anything happens, it's your name that's on the line on the certification.
How does it make you feel to be in the role you are in today? First and foremost, incredibly proud and delighted. And it does feel quite special to be in a position of this responsibility, which is making some big decisions. We have a new strategy, a new engineering capability strategy, which is going to change the way in which we employ, recruit, train, retain all of our engineers and technicians. And so there's a big shift across the whole of the Air Force. But I have a part of that within the engineering community. And so to be in this place right now to help inform, influence, and make some of those decisions is a real honour, and I'm very pleased to be here, because I know when I walk out the door in a couple of years' time, having finished this role, not out the door of the Air Force, just out the door of this role, I know that what I will have helped to decide is going to be there for another decade, if not more. So that's a real that's a feeling that's quite deep inside. I really recognise that, you know, this is not a job to play at. This is very real.
As you said, I feel privileged. Most roles, you feel a responsibility to keep it or improve on it, and the last thing you want to do is to do something that would jeopardise the role, unless, you know, there is a need to transform, to move forward, and perhaps the role isn't required anymore. But in general, most of them are, and it's your responsibility to make sure that you hand it over potentially in better order than you took it over, and it is a huge responsibility. But, you know, you're not on your own. You've got a team that helps you to do it, however many that is, and you've all got a similar goal. And I think that's what I will take away.
What advice would you give fellow females out there who are considering a career in the Royal Air Force? I think somebody once said to me, if there's any doubt, there's no doubt. And to be honest, I had no doubt at all that I wanted to join the Royal Air Force. It was the thing that kept creeping up into the back of my mind as an option, and something inside me kept saying to me, just go for it, and if you pass the interview, see what happens next. And so I did, and I passed the interview and I went to training, and then when I was in training I said to myself, just keep going and see what happens at the end of it. And I think every step of the way I've always given myself that talking to of, well, just keep going, and what's the worst that could happen? And I have had an incredible time along that journey, and I'm really pleased I listened to myself, and I'm very grateful that I've had the support from the very beginning, from my family when I was leaving home to go to university, and that phone call when I said I'm thinking about joining the Air Force, and I never expected it to be met with negatively anyway, but I sensed there might be some concern over that, but there wasn't. They were very supportive, and my family have always been supportive. And I'm fortunate enough to still have, a family that is supportive, and I've got my own family now. And my little girl likes dressing up in my hat and my uniform, and pretends to be me, and I feel like I'm inspiring her a little. And she's attended functions with me and reacts and things, and she's excited, and she is beginning to understand what the RAF is for our country, and I think it's quite important that she has that. So I think if you are thinking about it, just go and explore it further, and if you've been exploring it and you're still thinking about it, I would say that's a fair indication that it's probably the right thing for you. So just do it.
Before, when I've been asked, what would you say to youngsters, it doesn't really matter how old, but I really always write, go for it, just do it. If you then decide, because these days you don't have to sign away your life. It used to be that you signed away for 16 years, or it depends whether you join as an officer or as a technician. And I think either, if you're thinking about it, if you think you want to concentrate on the professional side, then maybe as a technician, if we could encourage you to join as an engineer, clearly. But if you want more of a leadership, more of a management role, then, perhaps as an engineer officer. But I really would just be confident, especially if it's a younger female, because I think we lack, or we have done, I think we learn as we go through that actually, we can do this. It has been, in my experience, it's been the confidence of other male colleagues, actually normally my bosses, who said, you can do this. Don't really understand why you're not the person that, when they're asking for volunteers to do this, that and the other, you always think, well, I'm not sure I'm quite qualified enough to do that. You absolutely are. And it's nice having, so it's a bit like your mentoring. it's a bit like it's very nice having people who see your qualities, recognize that you're slightly underconfident, but you absolutely can do it. And they give you a little push, a little nudge in the back, and you think, oh, actually, they're right. And then hopefully you'll be able to do that for others. I mean, certainly some of the other females that I mentor, it really is just about just stand up and be counted. It's not because you get shouted down or anything like that. It's just you have to make that initial step forward. If you don't do that, then you won't know what the possibilities are. You won't know what the opportunities could turn into. So, and if it doesn't work out, it's like any other walk of life. You will have learned so much, and you will actually have enjoyed it so much that you can take it somewhere else, and that's fine.